matter how much wood, you see the wood in front of the house? It doesn't matter how much wood you put in the fireplace, it'll be cold anyway because of those cracks and holes where the warmth goes out. People who live in villages, like the boys on the top of the picture and the old lady, they have no future. These boys, they either smell glue, like super glue. They definitely drink. And just, again, the reason why I can say that is this, because I was in those villages and I used to work with these people. And this little old lady, in Russia, every old lady we call babushka, which means grandma. And every old person we call dedushka, which is grandpa. Every foreign woman we call aunt. And every foreign man we call uncle. Though they're not our relatives, but that's the tradition. So this babushka, this grandma, she actually receives about, well, in the village it's even less. So she receives probably $6 per month. And how she keeps on living, I don't really know. But I know that it's so hard to go to the store and see one of these old people trying to collect all their little cents, we call them kopecks in Russia, trying to buy just a fine loaf of bread. While you buying cheese, you can buy some sausages, but they can forget about meat and cheese. It's very expensive, and meat too, fish too. So what I'm trying to say, if you live in the village, you will either die real soon or you will be an alcoholic. Forget about college. Forget about university. Because the education that they provide in local schools is very, very bad. You will not even be able to put 5 and 5 together to get 10. Then I was born in a town, which is a little bit better than the village, but I spent all my childhood in the village and I had fun. But in the town, we have a little better of an education, so I finally got to go to university. The funny story is we have a different system. We have to take exams, and at the university, and if exams are good, they let us study there for free. So I did it for free. And I'm not smart, because I'm telling you the story. Listen, I had this dean of the faculty, and I passed my writing pretty much very well. And then he goes, okay, I will ask you one question. And it was a text. And he pointed to the word. And the word is G-O-D. But back that time, I didn't know what it means. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what this means. Well, now I know it's God. But then I failed that exam, and I got a satisfactory mark. And now, God, he but he knew where I'm supposed to go, so I finally entered the university. And when it was the end of my first year, I actually wanted to go and practice my English to find some place. My mom watched television, and she saw an advertisement, commercial about worldwide youth camps, and it basically says it's a language camp. So I went there, and I wanted to be a child, to have fun, but they said because you're 17, you can't. Probably, the best thing you can do, you can be an interpreter. I'm like, okay, with my broken English. But they took a risk, and then that year I was baptized. I have never heard about Christ, though I lived in Russia. The image of God that we have is He is punishing, and now, judging by the conditions Russians live, you can pretty much say He is. I have never heard that God is loving, never ever. So the first time I heard about that when I was 18 years old, and I was translating that for my Russian students, not my Russian students, but Russian kids. And when the missionary from Church of Christ in Atlanta was telling the gospel to the kids, I forgot to translate. I was just listening. I was just sitting there and listening. And then there was the Russian kids who go, okay, so what is she talking about? And within 4 days, I wanted to join the kingdom. Again, the cornerstone was that I couldn't forgive my father for, what he had done to my mom. But I'm very grateful to those missionaries who took this trip to Siberia. And again, I now understand that this is very hard to go to Russia with this Cold War and the Iron Curtain that we had for years. And especially to go to Siberia, which is even further, much further. And people are there very formal, and you can think they're hostile, but they're actually not. So I was baptized there. These youth camps, they run for a week, twice a year, summer and winter. We play outside in winter too, so it's kind of horrible. And Americans do the same thing. They bundle up, and we made fun of them. Polina, the pictures are of 3 mentors, Russian mentors. I'm in the middle, and 2 of my friends at my sides. They were all baptized, 2002, that was my baptism, and the next year it was Polina's on the top, pink top, and then the next year Nastya. So you can see that churches provided a lot of money for this big camp, hoping that one of the kids will accept Jesus, but actually those who interpreted the good news decided to do that. And it was 1 mentor at a year at a time. It was planned by God, but not by the missionaries, definitely. So the organization is based in Atlanta, and it is still going on. It's still running from this city. And those are camp kids. So over 7 years, 4 Russian teachers and 2 kids were baptized. And we had about, I think 500, no, it was more. 7 years, 100 of kids at one camp, pretty much 1,000. Well, because we didn't have men, I baptized those friends of mine. I didn't know them. We met only, for 10 days, and then they were listening to the gospel from the missionaries, and then they asked me questions because I spoke Russian. We have this confusion that the God Americans bring to Russia is a different God, who is loving. Remember, we have the picture that he is hostile and he is punishing, okay? And not to avoid all of those confusions, we created Bible study, which kind of Bible club. It's an hour for kids to ask any questions they want. It doesn't mean I will answer every question, but we're trying very, very hard. And Americans are not allowed to visit this study because we don't want Russians think that this is, a different God. Another boy I baptized, it was last summer. His name is Igor, and it was special because he had been coming to this camp for 5 years. And he had been at every Bible club I led. And he was one of the most loving God person and people. I could say that he is looking for God. At the end of every camp, I asked them who would like to join. And this is a very difficult and dangerous question to ask, because if you're not under 18 years old and more, you can go to prison. And once we had a situation